I always believed I was a good man. Not perfect, no one is, but steady, reliable. The kind of person people could count on without asking twice. I had a routine, a rhythm to my life that felt safe. Work in the morning, messages during lunch, home in the evening. And at home, there was her. Her name was Alina. She wasn't loud or unpredictable. She didn't demand attention or create chaos. She was calm in a way that made everything else feel quieter. With her, life wasn't exciting in the way movies describe it, but it was real. It was stable. It was enough. At least, that's what I used to think. We had small rituals. Coffee in the morning. The way she would always leave the last piece of something for me, even if I knew she wanted it. The way she listened, not just waited for her turn to speak, but actually listened. I told myself that was love, and maybe it was. But love, I've learned, isn't always loud when it starts to fade. It disappears slowly, quietly, like something slipping through your fingers while you're too distracted to notice. I met Kira on an ordinary day. There was nothing special about it. No sign, no warning. Just another late afternoon at work, another conversation that started with something small. A question, a joke, something forgettable. But she wasn't forgettable. Kira was easy. That's the first thing I noticed. Talking to her didn't feel like effort. There were no expectations, no shared history, no weight behind every word. With Alina, every silence meant something. With Kira, silence was just silence. It felt light. At first, it meant nothing. At least, that's what I told myself. We started talking more. Messages during the day, then in the evening, then later than that. Conversations that didn't seem important, but somehow I kept coming back to them. I didn't notice when it became a habit. Or maybe I did, and chose to ignore it. The first lie was small. I'm working late. It came so easily that it scared me, but not enough to stop. I justified it instantly. It wasn't a real lie, I thought. I was at work. I just didn't say I was staying for her. For Kira, that's how it begins. Not with betrayal, but with permission. Permission you give yourself to cross lines that don't look like lines at all. Days turned into weeks. I started checking my phone more often, waiting for her messages, smiling at things I wouldn't have noticed before. And every time I did, something inside me whispered that this wasn't right. But I didn't listen, because nothing had happened. Not really. No touch. No kiss. No moment I couldn't undo. Until there was. It wasn't dramatic. No music. No overwhelming emotion. No sense that this was a turning point. Just a quiet evening. We were talking like we always did. Laughing. Sharing things that felt harmless at the time. And then we were closer. And then too close. And then it happened. No passion. No fire. Just a moment where I didn't stop. And once it was done, there was nothing to say. That's the part no one talks about. There's no clarity after. No immediate regret that fixes everything. Just silence. Heavy, uncomfortable silence. I left shortly after. The world outside looked the same. Cars passing. Lights in windows. People living their lives like nothing had changed. But everything had. Because I had. When I got home, Alina was asleep. She was lying on her side, facing my side of the bed. Like she always did. Like she had been waiting without knowing she was waiting. I stood there for a moment, just looking at her. And for the first time, I felt like a stranger in my own life. Nothing had changed. The same apartment. The same quiet. The same person who trusted me without question. Except now, I didn't belong in that picture anymore. I didn't deserve it. I lay down next to her, but I didn't sleep. How could I? Every second felt louder than the last. Every thought heavier. And the worst part wasn't what I had done. It was what she didn't know. Morning came too quickly. She woke up before me, like always. I could hear her in the kitchen. The soft sounds of routine. Cups, water, the quiet movements of someone who feels at home. When I walked in, she smiled. Just like she always did. "Good morning," she said. Like nothing had changed. She made coffee. Asked about my day. Talked about something small, something normal. And I answered. I played my role perfectly. That hurt more than anything. Because she trusted me. Completely. And I had already broken something she didn't even know existed. That's when I understood something I wish I had realized earlier. Betrayal doesn't start with action. It starts with silence. With the things you choose not to say. The moments you hide. The truth you keep to yourself because it's easier than facing what it means. All day, her voice stayed in my head. Her smile. The way she looked at me without doubt. And I knew I couldn't keep doing this. Not because I was afraid of being caught, but because I couldn't stand what I had become. That evening, we sat together like we always did. Same place, same light, same quiet between us. But it felt different, heavier. She looked at me for a long moment. Then she asked, softly, "Are you okay?" Such a simple question. One I had answered 1,000 times without thinking. "I'm fine. I'm just tired." It's nothing. The easiest lies in the world. I opened my mouth. I could have said it again. I almost did. Because telling the truth meant breaking everything. It meant changing how she saw me. It meant facing consequences I couldn't control. It meant losing her. But lying meant something worse. It meant losing myself completely. So I paused. And for the first time in a long time, I didn't choose the easy way. "No," I said. My voice didn't sound like mine. She didn't interrupt. Didn't rush me. Just waited. Like she always did. And that made it harder. "I'm not okay," I said. "And I need to tell you something." There are moments in life where everything slows down. This was one of them. Because once you say it, you can't take it back. Once the truth is out, it doesn't belong to you anymore. I looked at her. Really looked. And I told her everything.